Hello, I'm Suhasini, and on behalf of my brand new YouTube channel, Suhasini B2B Marketer, and the Market Access LinkedIn page and Facebook page, I'm really excited to welcome all the rockstar marketers who are watching this scintillating video session today. I'm also the founder of Market Access Consulting, I should mention that. And, I know that many of us feel like 2020 has like fried our brains. Our natural intelligence is evaporating, but artificial intelligence will come to our rescue. So today's session is, we get a chance to learn about artificial intelligence in marketing. So if you have used your, mobile phone to point at the fish, at the Atlantis, the palm, if you've been to Dubai recently, and if you've used your mobile to point at the face of the fish at the Atlantis, the palm, to find out which species they belong to, or if you used your voice to book a table at the same hotel, then you know the magic of computer vision and conversational artificial intelligence, or bots. If you haven't done any of that, then get a life, man. Just kidding. But if you have, then you've been touched by some of the great stuff that folks at Blue Logic Digital build. So with us today is Mr. Janak Sarda, the founder and CEO of Blue Logic Digital, which is a leading creative high-tech company based in Dubai, and it helps brands to build this magic. So hi, Janak, and welcome to this video session.
Hi, Suhasini. Thank you so much. What a pleasure.
Okay, so to tell you a little about Janak, Janak is passionate about emerging technology. He distributes his time between Dubai, Germany, and India, and he leads the Blue Logic Digital team. He brings his vision and experience as a business leader to this company. He is the managing director of a very well-known media group, Deshdoot, in India. He's also the managing director of a company in Germany called Calculus. Janak is the vice president of the International Advertising Association for Youth Development globally. He's an active participant on various business forums and a regular visitor to global technology events because that's his passion. So you will find him at Mobile World Congress at Barcelona and the International Tourism Berlin, which is held in Germany. So with that, we'll ask Janak a little bit about how artificial intelligence, AI, chatbots, what we call voice bots, computer vision, all these are going to kind of play out in the marketing space. Yeah. So I'll just start with my first question, and then I'm going to be very quiet and let Janak do the talking. So Janak, do you see customers expecting more and more personalized offers, content, and communications? And if that's the trend, then how can brands kind of deliver this? Yeah.
Sure. Thank you, Suhasini, for a wonderful introduction. Very, very passionate about the ad tech space, which got me into the tech business as such. Fintech is my newfound interesting space, if I were to put it that way. And of course, at Blue Logic, we've been helping brands achieve a lot of this through various kind of solutions that we have provided them with. However, to your question that you just asked about personalization, I think personalization is going to be the way forward for every brand. If you want a customer who is much more engaged, a lot more responsive, and somebody who would want to easily open up his or her wallet to consume your products, it's going to be a critical element. You take, for an example, Expedia, if I were to use it as an example, you look for a hotel, and if the hotel is able to kind of personalize it to your liking through whatever interaction that it has been able to collect in your digital footprint at the back of it, it's going to be a wonderful experience. And where do you pick up this digital footprint? I think it's all over the place. You and I, who have been using multiple screens all the time, I think at least 2.5 to 3 hours of screen time for each one of us minimum. I mean, now that a lot of your devices actually tell you how much have they been used, your digital footprint is all over. I mean, there are multiple touch points where all this data can be picked up and personalization can work. And definitely, I mean, I completely recommend for brands to customize or tailor make their offerings. Persona identification has already been enabled by the technology companies, and we should leverage all those tools available to us easily and catch the opportunity for sure. Yeah, so I hope.
Very interesting. Yeah, very interesting. So, with that, let's come specifically to chatbots. And can you
Sure.
tell us a little bit about how chatbots actually help sales and marketing objectives? So, whether our listeners, whether they're using them effectively, or those who have kind of not got onto that bus yet, how do chatbots really help sales and marketing?
So I'm going to step back a little bit and also help understand the background or the basis on which chatbots, according to me, emerged for marketers to be used as a, not just as a customer service offering, but also the sales offering. So I'm going to divide it into two. One is going to be about the sales offering on how it helps in customer engagement and customer servicing from a information give out, information giving process. So we have built something for Sony in the Middle East, and we did it as an experiment with them. We did it over Skype, where we listed their products through the Skype chatbot for their B2B suppliers. So anybody could log on to Skype. Probably I would be a distributor or a dealer of Sony or a reseller of Sony. I would log into the Skype chatbot of Sony and try and extract information. Simple process, but automated. It is custom built to such an extent where you could ask for some more information through the bot. Uh, for on the service side, we have done something for airports, or we have done something for an airline, where if you wanted to know what is the kind of weight that you can carry on board for your checked-in baggages, you wanted to consume any of their services, block a seat, request for a special meal, wheelchair request, etc., etc. Simple processes that you would otherwise call a call center and extract the information today are being done through bots. Uh, so the service side of the business and the marketing side of the business, these are two channels which are really effective for the chatbots to be a medium of convenience. I think the two critical elements where the chatbot play a very important role in the sales process, I think, is one, they give you a feeling as if it's a customized experience. You ask a question and the computer responds back to you. Most of the time, it has been observed that the nature of questions is repetitive. Your and my brain today is programmed to ask questions the way we would ask a Google search engine to respond to us. We have a specific pattern in which we have begun to ask questions, irrespective of a chatbot or a Google search engine or whichever search page you do use. On the services side, again, the expectation is very similar. You started to use your experience of IVR interaction that you had with a live agent. You took it to the chatbot and you started interacting with the chatbot as if you were talking to a live agent over IVR. Now, all these formats are undergoing change. The new generation on the block is kind of embracing these technologies and taking us to the next level of engagement. So when I say that, the flag has been cut. This highs, hellos may work, may not work. It really depends on the mood of the consumer, whether those greetings really are important to them or not. They just want to get into an engagement at the earliest and get out with a satisfactory response to their sales query or to their service query. So this was the premise of the chatbots actually come into action. Two things for brands. One, it cuts down your cost of acquisition for the customers because you are able to service many customers through an automated process much quicker than what your IVR,
Call center, yes.
especially in case of service offerings. yeah, call centers, kind of the load on call centers has kind of reduced,
Mm.
and the satisfaction levels within the mind of the consumers has kind of drastically improved. Uh, Another example that I can share with you where the services are consumed very, very regularly and also at a very high volume is getting appointments with doctors. I mean, if that entire process can be automated, and if in the middle of the night I want to book an appointment for 8 a.m. in the morning or a 9 a.m. in the morning, I can there and then itself through the chatbot know whether the doctor is available or not at the geography of my choice or not. You could visit one of the clinics where he is available if it is an urgent matter. However, if you have the time, you could choose to do it at the clinic of your choice. But all this information is packed in a chatbot. And how many questions does it take, really? So we have a process where in the backend you really need to kind of identify one would be needed to put in the message. So the interaction is getting extremely precise, extremely streamlined, extremely efficient, thereby helping brands cut on the cost of servicing per customer. So it's absolutely interesting, and I think the chatbot is your entry into understanding machine learning and artificial intelligence, because ultimately a cluster of machine learning experiences enables the artificial intelligence to develop and be executed for a brand. So it's going to be your data sets in the backend which are going to be studied efficiently. Algorithms will be deployed. The ones which are the most efficient for your brands would ultimately kind of artificial intelligence process for your organizations. So that is how it works. In fact, I came across, there is a very old uh, story that I keep when this entire artificial intelligence as a process was being set up, and the gurus of artificial intelligence, or rather the early adopters of artificial intelligence, were driving the processes for various companies, there was a concept called, you would need artificial intelligence armies within your organizations who would enable the organization to understand how the implementation of machine learning can be executed for every organizations. I think the time has arrived. I mean, from chatbot now we are maturing to voice kind of responsiveness through Google, Alexa, or whatever. And then you're now talking about image recognition, where my personalized greeting would be when I walk into a hotel and the concierge would directly greet me with my name without even me having to show him the ID, or him or her the ID. At the reception desk, I want to be recognized. If I'm a loyal customer of a hotel, I want to be, pampered with the personalization. So all these things would, I think, really go a long way for the brands to engage with consumers, and also, I think, save costs at the end of the day. So
Fascinating, fascinating. I mean, because in all this, the bot is also learning, right? That's what you mentioned. So the responses get better over time.
absolutely. So the bot is always learning. The first process which really empowers the bot to know the answers is the FAQ section of your websites. I
Mhm.
think the FAQs get automated as a first step. The moment bot starts to understand how to respond to every FAQ, you know that the bot is now beginning to learn and adapt to the brand guidelines that have been set out. So yeah, that is how it works.
So this is fascinating, and as I said, still many people in sales and marketing who may not kind of know the full potential. So can you share some like great examples? I know you mentioned the healthcare one, which is very good, but if you'd like to tell us a little more about some great examples, and also maybe some hilarious examples of what what chatbots can be up to.
Certainly. I mean, I have a few where, so the machine is not a human being. So the human intelligence at times is visibly kind of showcased in a way to brands where it has failed to understand. But we'll come to the hilarious part later. Let me share with you some fantastic examples of artificial intelligence deployment in the marketing. I'm going to start from the east. I think China uh, has done some remarkable job on the artificial intelligence, showcasing of artificial intelligence through its entire e-commerce platforms or e-commerce industry as such. You take Alibaba as an example, where they have not, I think they went with the grocery information first. They most difficult element of being able to service the customer needs, where if they could crack the grocery business, every other business is kind of easy to crack in the artificial intelligence ecosystem. So they automated the food, the food consumption for a consumer. So you would go, you would choose your veggies, you would choose whatever you wanted to from the food section of the from the mall or whatever that store. You would also order food to be prepared and delivered in half an hour at your residence if you were in the vicinity within the 3 kilometer radius. Now all of this was being done through the interaction digitally. While you did enter the raw data at the first instance, I think from the second, third time, it began to predict what is it that you're going to like and how you would like the food to be cooked, depending on the ratings that you gave it, as a feedback. So all this, the more you interact with these platforms, the more data these platforms are going to collect, and that is how they will become efficient and meet your consumer requirements. So I would always encourage people to do their bit of empowering AI if they really want the AI to ease their life to an extent. So these are, then there is vision AI. Today you unlock your phone so confident your face. That's vision AI. I mean, the banking sector is really looking forward to adapting it completely. I think I have also come across, examples where American Express has empowered the Alexa, which to my mind, I thought was very difficult because Alexa uh, is not as secure as my mobile phone, or I would trust my OTP a lot more, wherever there is a 2 or 3 layer security involved, I feel a lot more confident to transact. But if an Alexa can be empowered to kind of let you know what is the kind of charge that has been charged to your credit card and also what your outstanding is, and you feel secure about it, I think consumerism, or rather that old proverb about consumer being the king, is already there. I mean, you're servicing the client or your consumer with all the information through the channels of his or her choice. So this was the Express example around voice. Uh, yeah, I mean, there is Nike, which is always at the forefront of embedding technology into its ecosystem. I remember a case study where I had seen the shoppers were allowed to walk into a Nike store, design their own shoe. Nike kind of learned how people behaved, what are the designs that were the most desirable, so that they could implement those with the next line of shoes coming out. So all this is already happening, and this is happening in bits and pieces with every brand. I think some of the best case studies are also with IBM. IBM Watson has been at the forefront of letting brands know how to innovate and get consumer insights through artificial intelligence. So plenty of examples, really. I mean, but you need to know what are the functionalities that you really want to get out of those and work around it.
And how will artificial intelligence respect privacy then with all this happening? Is it a concern?
It is a concern for sure, if not in my mind, in people's mind for sure, because it takes time to convince yourself about where this data is going, how it is being processed, and how it could be used back. I mean, advertising has been using it to retarget and target the right audiences, make a pitch for sale through the advertising, through digital advertising. This has already been happening, but with more cautious approach and more consciousness in the mind of consumers, GDPR has kind of led the way in streamlining the privacy laws, or rather, at least I would say, sensitize us towards looking at privacy as one of the main pillars before you go to market with your bots or artificial intelligence solutions. And I think the European Union, I think, is really working hard, including UK, where we are being given on what is the data that one can store, what is the data that cannot be stored, how these big companies or organizations who are leaders in this space are to look at laws and regulations from here on. In fact, to share with you, at Blue Logic, none of our solutions actually store any of the consumer data onto any of our systems. In the sense, they are all cloud based solutions. So you pick up the data from the customer that you are servicing. I mean, the solution, for example, in Sony's case, it would be through the Sony's data set, and we would push back, process the data, and push it back into their system. We don't store any of the data or any of the
Personally identifiable information you don't store, yeah.
yeah, I mean, not just that, but also the interactions. I mean, if at all there are bot failures, that is what we generally like to pick up and kind of process, because we want to understand the consumer requirement or the need for the brand much better, in a better way, and ensure that it does not happen or the failures do not repeat themselves. So it has been our practice to actually follow what is happening globally with the privacy issues. In fact, I believe there was a huge conference which happened in January of this year in the US, which was led by the business leaders in this space. So if a Tesla or a Microsoft can lead the way in ensuring we take care of these legislations, I think it's an industry standard that will need to be followed.
That's
And
good
you
to
were
know.
asking
That's
me about,
comforting to know. Yeah, I was asking you
of
about.
course, about the hilarious
Yeah, yeah.
incident. And so we had a bot query where a frustrated customer kind of asked the bot, or rather responded to a bot response by saying, "Go to hell." Unfortunately, the bot did not really understand the sentiment, and it just said, it offered to book a ticket. You know, it said, "Should I book you a ticket?" Uh, very, very embarrassing kind of a bot failure.
Well, actually, I think the customer deserves.
We had to kind of we had to work hard to fix that issue. There was also an instance which I clearly remember much earlier. When I say earlier, almost 2 years back, one of our first few bots, where a customer kind of responded to the bot by saying that, you know, I just lost my father, and the bot, you know, probably responded in with a welcome statement or something like that. And so when we went back to the, you know, how brand to respond to this, a bot is not meant to handle such queries. You know, really, I mean, who would, in both the cases, even if it was, if you know, father in an amusement park, you would not be on a bot chatting with an agent. You know, you would panic. Your own human behavior. So these are scenarios which get created to test the ability of the bot and the intelligence of the bot. But I would recommend consumers also to kind of understand that there is a way in which you can talk to the machine. You know, it's ultimately not a unique, and it's there to only provide that service that you really need efficiently. But yeah, I mean, there have been plenty of such instances on a lighter note, and which make us laugh, and our engineers have to sweat it out to address those issues. You know, your first reaction is of course funny. You want to laugh it out, you want to understand, and all of that. But when you come back to the drawing board and want to correct those,
Yeah.
take a lot.
So, Janak, you shared some wonderful examples of stuff that brands are doing, great stuff that brands are doing. So, can you tell me what you think the future is like? Where will brands leverage AI even better in the future?
Given my exposure to the advertising industry and the media industry, and the kind of you know, the kind of challenges that brands are facing on ground today, I could segregate them into a few buckets. Brands are struggling to embed ecosystem, right from you know, the services management or even the point of sale. For example, through digital, you're not going to buy a high street. You're not expected by those brands to be buying high-end products. However, I think you will need to embed the AI technology into such brands as well. I mean, they will have to figure out interactions, client requirements through digital or technology-driven initiatives. On the other hand, then you have the mass brands, which are daily consumption goods only, where they are very effectively and efficiently already using it to manage customer expectations, to manage supply chain, to probably even improve their internal efficiencies. So you would probably already be anticipating what are the kind of services that would be required if there was some geographic, or rather if there was some calamity that you would be expecting. For example, a telecom company can actually predict after a hurricane or a thunderstorm the challenges that it is likely to face, and how many engineers would be needed on ground, and what are the kind of clients which could be impacted, and within those clients, which are the ones which need to be put on online at the earliest. I mean, where you would need the services to ensure that the client is up and running in no time. So all these things probably are being aided by the artificial intelligence and overall enhancement of technology as such. But at the same time, I would say, or rather, my personal benchmark at times is Amazon, because it has been doing a lot of work way ahead of the others. What services Blue Logic offers today, whether it is chat or Vision AI or even the voice bots that we do, Amazon is already doing it. I mean, has already always been doing it. You can click a picture of a product and query in a search through the Amazon app. You can use Alexa to order products, or at least know when their deliveries is going to happen. In case of India, for example. And yeah, I mean, your servicing now in India is through chatbot. I mean, if you have a problem with a product that you have been delivered and you want to talk with the customer care executive, it is an automated process. And what better time to show your efficiency than that we are in? You digitization for brands has also now begun to take place with an heightened or enhanced speed. Brands are already moving very fast to go and leverage the digital ecosystem.
Yeah, the pandemic sort of forced us into it. Like we just had to start sort of hit the ground running. Everyone, many people who were ready or not ready, they did have to do that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that was very interesting and fascinating. Everything that you shared with us, Janak, and I'm really so thankful for your time and for the fabulous world that you showed us with the examples and so on. And with that, I'll kind of wrap up this session. So it has been a fabulous session. So to our viewers, you can follow our YouTube channel, Suhasini B2B Marketer, for more such. We're just kind of launching this today with Janak, but you can follow us for some more. And do take a look at the Market Access Facebook page and LinkedIn page, because there's going to be great content happening there as well. And there's one more shameless plug from my side. You can look for my course on content strategy and planning in B2B marketing on Udemy. So with that, I'm going to say bye to all of you. And I'm going to again say a big thank you to Janak. And Janak, you can, you just like to say bye to our viewers.
Thank you so much, Suhasini. Really wonderful interacting with you. And it was my to ensure that I interactions, but yeah, thank you so much. It was wonderful to with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Pause, stop recording.